So before we start the video, I'd like to ask you guys to please consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video, as it helps the channel grow. So let's get into it. Alright, so what's up guys, KT here, back at it with another video. Today, we're doing something a little bit different. I told you guys I was going to be doing a myriad of content on this channel with different topics. And one of the topics I wanted to touch on, and that I mentioned from the last video I did, was about the NBA and its decreasing viewership and my thoughts on that. So in this video, I'm going to explain maybe some of the reasons why the NBA is seeing a decrease in viewership and why the games don't seem as good nowadays. So before we start this video, I want to let you guys know that I am still doing my $100 Amazon gift card giveaway on the channel. If you look on your screen, you will see the video in which I'm hosting the giveaway on. If you guys go on my channel and follow yourself and find yourselves on that video, go down to the pinned comment and follow the rules. Leave your comment on that video and you should be eligible for the gift card giveaway. I will be announcing winners probably next week, so be looking out for that. And as always guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you get notified when I drop the winner announcement video. So without further ado guys, let's get straight into the video. So the NBA, the National Basketball Association, home to some of the greatest basketball players on the planet, has seen a decrease in viewership as of lately. The games have not been as good as, you know, despite the level of talent, they have not been really all that great. A lot of people consider the NBA to be unwatchable, and there's a lot of factors that, you know, that play into that on why viewership is going down. I do have a tweet that references this. How reliable it is doesn't really matter to me, or if the numbers are accurate, but you know, it's saying some of the same things that I'm thinking in my head, and a lot of other people are saying on Twitter and, you know, in other communities. So you know, it definitely has some merit to it. So I want to go through that little through this little tangent of mine, talking about how the NBA is losing viewership and, you know, why it's losing viewership. So me personally, I haven't been watching much of the NBA this year. I can't tell you who's going to win the finals, who's the best constructed team per se. All I know is that the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Oklahoma City Thunder are two of the best teams in the NBA. That's it. I haven't really watched many of the games because they haven't really been all that entertaining, and it plays a multitude of reasons for that. Other than the Bulls, I haven't really watched much of any other team this year. There's reasons for that as well. But it just seems like through the years, especially through this decade per se, the 2020s, it has seen a decrease in viewership. Now, let's put a little bit of asterisks on this. I'm not saying the NBA is dying, or it's just completely trash, or there's no talent or anything like that, or I'm just a hater or whatever. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that the NBA hasn't seen the level of interest that it's seen in previous years. You know, I started watching the NBA intently and religiously in 2016. I really started getting into the NBA around those years, and it felt like the best time to be a basketball fan and to get into basketball. I got into it via the Oklahoma City Thunder, the 2016 Oklahoma City Thunder with Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, and Serge Ibaka, all those guys, mainly in that Warriors rivalry and series that they had in the playoffs. Then I watched that entire final series in 2016, which completely got me hooked on that. But I was watching basketball in and out here and there in previous years before. So, you know, my favorite player, Russell Westbrook, has always kept me, you know, engaged. I followed his career for the Oklahoma City Thunder for a while, watching his MVP season and watching a lot of other guys, watching the LeBron and Curry rivalry play out, you know, rising teams like the Celtics and the Bucks come into prominence. So I saw all that stuff happen. James Harden's MVP and historical season, I saw all that stuff happen, and it felt like viewership was high during those years. But as the years have went on, and as those guys have gotten older, the viewership has gone down, but the talent level has gone up. And why is the viewership going down when the talent level has gone up? You would think now that the older guys like Curry, LeBron, KD, all these guys going out of style, or not going out of style, but kind of aging out, and now these new generation of stars are coming in, you'd think the viewership would come up, would rise up. Unfortunately, it has not played out that way for the NBA. Despite the talent level that we have, the viewership is down. NBA Cup viewership was down 10% this year. ESPN viewership was down 28%. And the 2024 playoff viewership was down 12% last year. Now, I don't know how accurate these numbers are, but I do know that people share a common sense is that the NBA has just not been enjoyable this year. And there's a multitude of reasons for that. One of my major reasons, and I think this is the one major reason that people are going to say, is the way they play now is just, it's unwatchable per se. Now, not every team gets up there and shoots 1,000 threes, but you can see that the league is definitely a perimeter, centric league where they shoot a lot of threes and they try to, outshoot their opponents. And every team shoots a lot of threes nowadays. Every team is trying to emulate the success of the now current Boston Celtics, who shoot the most threes in the NBA and probably make the most. And for other teams, for the Boston Celtics, that might work. For other teams, that's not going to work. And, it just gives the sense that every team plays the same. There's no variety. The stars all play the same. If they're not, they're not really even going to the basket anymore. They're kind of just, when they get into these one-on-one situations, either they're passing up to either a contested or open three, or, the one-on-one stars are completely going into isolation, stepping back and shooting a three. And that's unwatchable because it kind of takes the individual. I think BJ Armstrong said this too. It takes the individuality out of the game. There's no variety between these stars nowadays. Jason Tatum basically plays the same as a Luka Doncic, or a Joel Embiid plays the same as like a Karl Anthony Towns. There's nothing that really separates these guys from one another, because it seems like everybody plays the same. Jalen Brunson, plays a specific type of style, but he still shoots a lot of threes. He still shoots that step back three, and not everybody. And it's just like none of these players you can relate to, because everybody does the same thing. Kobe, when he was playing, he had his fadeaway. He had his ball handling, the mid-range shot. KD, he had the pull-up jumper. He could shoot threes. He had the contested shot. Russell Westbrook, tenacity, going to the basket. Curry, ball handling. He was one of the few that had the unique ability to shoot half-court shots and half-court threes and take any type of shot he wanted and make. LeBron, bullheaded, going to the basket. Even now, he's starting to shoot a lot of threes nowadays in his advanced age. So that's probably the main reason is why people are kind of, taken back by the NBA, is that everybody kind of plays the same way. They take 40 threes per game. Nobody really goes to the basket. They don't feed. There's no real big men in the NBA. It's a positionless game. All the coaches nowadays, from college to high school to the NBA, they all teach the same system. They play the same system. And I think BJ Armstrong said this too. They kind of discourage players from taking the 2-point shot. Guys like DeMar DeRozan are going out of style nowadays. And if you can't shoot that three, you're basically useless to an NBA team. You either won't make the roster, or you'll be a bench player, or be in the D League somewhere. Even in high school for the varsity teams, if you can't shoot that three, or you're not playing flashy enough or something like that, you're not going to make the team. You're just not. And in college, it's less. In high school, it's bad. Everybody, the talent level in high school, because these kids now play teams that are just so beneath their talent level, is, they can just jack up anything. It could be a bad shot, good shot, and it can go in. It kind of removes the way these guys are supposed to play basketball. It feels like nobody knows the fundamentals of playing basketball. The worst thing ever is watching a team go in transition and everybody stop at the 3-point line. When you have a clear open lane to the basket, which can make an easier shot for you, but everybody kind of just fades out to the corners and elbows while one guy has the ball. And instead of going to the basket, they take, even though they're not a really great shooter, they take a bad 3-point shot, and either they make it or miss it, but it's just bad basketball, man. When you can just easily go to the basket, get an easy layup, get back on defense, and, then you can get into your half-court set and shoot threes. But, the 3-point shot is definitely an issue. It's too many threes being shot by every single team. Every team plays the same. There's no individuality with the systems. The players all play the same. There's no creativity with the ball. Everybody's trying to do the same moves. So it's just a bad product to watch when all the star players are playing the same, and they basically like robots playing in the same system. There's nothing to separate them from each other, and I think that's one of the big reasons why the NBA is falling off. Another one is that star players resting and taking games off. That's definitely a bad precedent that the league has set. This has been going on for a while, and the NBA, to their credit, has tried to amend this by introducing you have to play a certain amount of games to be eligible for awards. It just feels like the players don't really care about that. They don't really care about that. If I don't feel like playing, I'm not going to play. That comes into guaranteed contracts where they know they're going to get paid regardless whether they play or not. Kawhi Leonard definitely comes into considerations with this bullet point. Joel Embiid also has this issue with sitting out of games even though he's not hurt. And you guys can argue with me in the comment section. There's a lot of times this dude is not hurt or he's completely healthy and he just will not play. He doesn't play back-to-backs. So nobody really plays back-to-backs like that. Now for the players that do have injuries, and I do say injuries are kind of a mixed bag. Some injuries you can play through. Some injuries you can't. If you have a serious injury and a doctor tells you you cannot play, then that's different. But if you got like a little bruise on your finger or something like that, or a bruise on your arm, you shouldn't be sitting out of the game. That's something you can play through. And when fans go to the games, they want to see their favorite players play. It started with the San Antonio Spurs. The NBA tried to fine them for that. It did not work. Then it got worse with the Los Angeles Clippers last year and all those years with Doc Rivers, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George sitting out games. James Harden was another guy that liked to sit out games, or just pout when he didn't really get what he wanted. Star players resting and taking off games is a big reason. Now, for injuries, it's different. I wouldn't say it's a soft type thing, but everybody stays injured nowadays. It might be because of the way they play. It might be because their nutritionists are not putting them up on some good, ways to keep their bodies in shape. But when guys take games off or they're missing games because of load management, it creates a boring game. And shoot, I saw a game with the New Orleans Pelicans where they had a lineup that featured James Robinson Earl and Elfrid Payton because everybody was hurt or either sitting out or was hurt. Guys like Zion Williamson come to name in that. He's always hurt, and I don't even think it's like serious injuries. I just think it's because of his weight, and he's trying to get himself in shape, but he just can't because he doesn't spend enough time in the offseason to get himself in shape. He should be one of the star players in this league, but he never truly plays. So the New Orleans Pelicans have nothing out there to watch, and now with Brandon Ingram gone, they have nothing to watch. So that's definitely playing a role in why the NBA has definitely saw a decrease in viewership. The third bullet point said that sports books, gambling, and officiating has definitely been a problem. This one is definitely true as well. The sports books, they definitely have their role to play in this. They clearly have a hand on what goes on during games, no matter what somebody says. Everybody's pointing it out. You see on every commercial break or every advertisement in the stadiums, it's either promoting some type of gambling service like FanDuel or DraftKings. They have the sports betting books in the stadiums nowadays. So And that kind of plays into why the officiating and all the rule changes are going into effect, because the NBA wants to increase scoring because everybody wants to cover that spread. Let's just be honest. When you bet on that team, most people don't watch the games, to watch the game, watch for the love of the game. Most people are watching the games, and you see it all the time on Twitter. You see people complain about the spread when they don't hit it. People are watching to cover the spread. The game has basically become about making money. There's so many advertisements on the jerseys and on the court, and on all these commercial breaks and timeouts, because the NBA wants to make money. They want to bring as much revenue into themselves as well, and with the gambling as well. Even the players have started doing a little bit. They just get punished when they get caught. The gambling has definitely become an issue in the NBA. Guys were purposely tanking games in their own spread, in their own stats, to be able to make money. If you think Jonte Porter was just the only one, you probably will be oddly mistaken. There's probably more players betting on themselves than we'll ever know, because they just haven't been caught, or the NBA is protecting them. Now, it's kind of a tinfoil hat theory, but you gotta think that if one player is doing it, you gotta think that other players are doing it too. Come on, it's just the nature of humanity. Otherwise, the officiating is absolutely horrible. You can't touch nobody. You can't play defense. The NBA wants to push this age of scoring, so you can't play defense, you can't touch nobody, and they even hampered defense even more in recent years, and that's led to teams getting blown out 130 to 112. Every game is a 30-point blowout. Star players are taking 15 to 20 free throws per game. All these advanced stats that don't matter, that don't make sense, like true shooting percentage has become a big thing, or PER. It's just a horrible product nowadays. All the gimmicks, I would say that too. All the gimmicks. They recently had a deal with 2K, which is definitely one of the most gimmicky games that I've ever played, even though I still love it. But trying to get people to watch it, has been a challenge for the NBA, and I think gambling, commercials, timeouts, the officiating, it definitely plays a role in why the NBA is kind of seeing a downgrade in viewership. And I think the last reason, and before I end the video, is probably too many streaming services, man. Most fans can't watch their own team in their own state. I live in Chicago. I live in the state of Illinois. And we have Chicago Bulls here. I can't watch the Chicago Bulls on TV. Not anymore, now that the regional sports network has basically let go of the Chicago Bulls. They used to show games on NBC Sports Chicago. NBC did not want to pay for that no more. They haven't really wanted to pay for anything anymore, so it's not just an NBA problem, because the MLB is having issues like that. We used to have the Cubs on TV. The Cubs went and formed their own network, which is Marquee Sports Network. So the Sox, Bulls, Blackhawks basically did the same thing. There's nothing they show on NBC Sports Chicago anymore, because the RSNs don't want to pay for that stuff anymore. The cable networks definitely don't want to pay for it, and you're definitely not going to get the league to pay for it either. And it's not just a Chicago thing. People who live in Charlotte and all those places, they have issues watching their team as well. Add that to the ticket prices, the foods, the drinks, and trying to find a way to park at those games, how high the ticket prices are, and how many fees you get to try to sit down and watch a game in the stadium. If you're not going to the games, you have to pay for League Pass. You either have to pay for League Pass, which is not worth it in my opinion. You have to buy their own, first party streaming site like Chicago Sports Network to watch the Bulls or something like that, which costs about $20 on the low. They won't put it on cable. Very few teams play on national TV that aren't the same teams over and over again, like the Lakers and Knicks. So watching the game, getting to the games, it costs more never to watch a game. It costs even more to actually go to a game, and it just feels like it's a chore to watch this game. You're paying to watch a a subpar product every night. And if you can't pay to watch your team, then you're just not going to watch it. Because I'll tell you this here, even if you pay for League Pass, you may not get the game that you want to watch. You may not even be able to watch your favorite team because NBA League Pass will black out that game. For some odd reason, they will black out that game. At least in my experience here with the Chicago Bulls, we tried to watch games on TV. I've tried to watch them. With League Pass, they usually black it out. I don't get any signal on it. And it basically feels like you cannot watch the game. So, Xfinity doesn't want to pay for the Chicago Sports Network. A lot of cable networks don't want to pay for the individual streaming sites for these teams. So either you're paying for League Pass or you're paying for a streaming app. And if you're not paying for that and you don't go to the games, you're basically not watching. So that's one of the reasons why the NBA is having an issue with viewership. But overall, the NBA has definitely seen a decrease in viewership. It's become unwatchable for multiple different reasons. The game not being taught the right way, the sports books having their hands on what goes on during the games, the players stay injured and don't want to play, the officiating, so many issues, the ticket prices, the three-point shot. We could go on and on what's wrong with the NBA, but that was just my personal thoughts. How they can fix it, I don't know. I personally think Adam Silver is to blame for this. I feel like he should be, he should step down from the commissioner spot of the NBA and let somebody else step in. Or maybe it's time to let, the NBA do its thing and kind of go into a recession like it did in the 70s. And then, let this natural decrease play out. Because, history is bound to repeat itself. I guarantee you the NBA won't be like this forever. There are stars in the NBA. There's not many marketable stars that you could push as the face of the league. But there are stars in the NBA. Eventually, the NBA is going to be forced to get back to its roots and play basketball. But it does seem like the NBA nowadays is going downhill. Hopefully, in future years, maybe the product can revive, but it's going to take a lot of change for that to happen. So, that was just my thoughts on why the NBA is losing viewership. I'll put the thread on the screen as well if you guys want to go read that and see, what else is going on. There's multiple different articles, referencing this type of problem with the NBA. But overall, I'm going to get up out of here. If you guys enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing to the channel and liking the videos. It helps the channel grow. Make sure you guys hit that notification bell so you get notified when I drop that giveaway winners video. Make sure you leave your comment in the comment section as I will be reading them. Let me know what you guys think about the current state of the NBA. I'll probably hit you guys with some more topics. I do have some fun topics that I want to talk about. One of them is a hobby, and I also will try to get back to gaming. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'm out. Peace.